just how I'm feeling, though I never wanted you another way. But baby, it's been on my mind, and you know my face can't hide it. So take my hand and hear me when I say, don't you know that I'll be there for you, with a love to get you through the night, yeah. And I'll be there for you when everything is out of sight. You got it, baby. One more time, you got to get it right and forget what it's like for you. And honey, if you're diving, I'ma get you by, but come on, baby, lie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 76 of the Adam Makes Beer Industry Pro Podcast. Today I'm excited to be chatting with Geoff Wright from Fall Line Brewing in Macon, Georgia. Just a few bits of news, and this one is coming right up, so you might still have some time to sign up for it. Brewers of PA will be hosting the Mid-Atlantic Brewers Symposium and Expo, Harrisburg, PA, November 2nd through 4th. Come see me. If I just burped right into the mic, please forgive me. It got away from me. But November 2nd and 4th in Harrisburg, come out and see me. It's going to be a good event. I'm going to be speaking and attending. Lots of great talks planned. There's going to be the trade show. You'll want to be there. Also, in January 26th through 28th is the OCBA, the Ohio Craft Brewers Conference in beautiful Dayton, Ohio. Make sure to jump online and register for that because your boy will be there as well. Adam Makes Beer is now live. AdamMakesBeer.com is now live. Stay up to date on all of the Adam Makes Beer happenings. Contact me, dig into blog content. If you need services, we got services. All my stuff is over there. Check it out. Also, if you are looking for more time with yours truly, check out Small Town Guys Pod. We have some cool stuff coming up. We're getting official. We have a real theme song that's coming up this week that I'm incredibly excited about. Thursday, 8 a.m., probably the first hour of the Thursday night football game. Come hang out with us. Also, first episode of the Detroit Lions podcast called Waiting Since 57 will be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. It's me not talking beer, just like with Small Town Guys, but it's me talking football. So if you miss my face, come see me. Follow up on Instagram. I have pages for both of those if you want to stay in the loop. Speaking of staying in the loop, starting a brewery is a big step. Blickman Engineering is here to help. Since 2006, they've equipped hundreds of nano breweries for success. Their new 3.5 barrel Pro Surface electric brewing system cuts maintenance and saves at least 30 minutes per brew with powerful under kettle heating. From 1 to 15 barrel brew houses to keg washers and grain mills, Blickman has what you need. Ready to go pro? Contact Phil or Tom at ProSeries@BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman Engineering is a proud sponsor of this channel and loves to help brewers at every stage of their journey. Geoff has been in the industry since May of 2024, and he spent the 8 months before that bartending at Fall Line Brewing. He spent 2 years as an esports coach, 2 years as a middle school science teacher, and 1 year pursuing mental health counseling, but wanted to do something more fun and creative. He likes making content, some video games, and spending time with his wife and 13-month-old. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So a 13-month-old, that's still pretty much in the thick of things. I mean, you've got your head wrapped around it, big picture.
Yeah.
At this point, but it's real work.
Yeah, it's I feel like it's constantly like you learn how to do something, you get good at it, and then something happens and everything changes. So that's kind of where we are pre-walking. So yeah. He's been pushing the little this little guy around. He's been pushing this thing around, and he's cruising. So any day now, we're screwed. So I'm kind of like cherishing this, crawling era.
Well, and it's true. So my wife and I have 6, anywhere from 23 to 4. And it, it's the super cliche thing that, time goes by fast, but yeah, I mean, you take each one of those stages as they come, man. And what I found out was, as a dad, was I thought there was a time when, like, the curveball stopped being thrown in my general direction, but much like in the way that I thought there was a certain point where I was an adult and then things just would kind of plateau and you would kind of understand what was happening around you. That is not the case, at least in my walk through life. So yeah,
Right.
there's always going to be those curveballs. So yeah, not walking yet. All right. Anything verbally going on? What's going on as far as that?
Yeah, he's constantly kind of chit-chatting and saying things, and every day there's a new word that kind of like, or half a word that kind of
Yeah.
sticks around, and he's taking it in, which is like, all right, maybe I should start watching how I talk around this little guy before he starts picking up some creative things. So
For sure. They do pick it up.
that.
They do pick it up. Hey, and hey to everybody in the chat. Thanks for everybody for saying hello. Make sure to drop questions as we go. Good to see everybody in there. So you have an interesting background on the way into the industry. I think most of us do not have like this ultra clean path. And by that, what I mean is either, you get out of high school or whatever and go straight into working in our field, or you go on to some sort of training and then directly into our field. You had a few different things going on. So first of all, you mentioned an esports coach. I don't know what that is. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, so video games, people very competitive. In like 2017, 2016, they started offering scholarships, primarily under NACE, the National Association of Collegiate Esports was one of them.
Okay.
So colleges, a lot of private colleges, but some bigger ones like California Irvine, University of California Irvine, they started offering, thousands of dollars for kids to come play League of Legends, Rocket League, Overwatch, StarCraft, Dota, all these games that are highly watched. And yeah, I mean, I started working at Indiana Tech, and we had scholarships kind of in like the $2,500 to $5,000 range. So that was like our varsity scholarship, which, at a private institution, that's like a sixth of your semesterly cost, but it's something. So yeah, and that was really fun. I'm a League of Legends player. I don't play it much anymore, but I have a kid and a busy job, and I'm trying to do content. So it's like, things are changing.
Yeah. So like, so you've done streaming in the past for that with gaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long did you do that?
I mean, I streamed on and off after I was a teacher, and towards the end of teaching, I got into mental health therapy, and I kind of co-pursued YouTube and League of Legends at the same time as a coach. Yeah. And, I had like, 20 or so students, and I was making a little bit of money, not much. But, I was working on it, and I really always liked the online community thing. So I kind of, that's what I'm kind of pursuing now as well in Instagram and brewing. Kind of just hopping around things that interest me. But yeah, I was a big League of Legends player. I was pretty good. I wasn't the best, but
sure.
Yeah.
I actually just interviewed, I think within a month, I met John Blevins, who is a Twitch streamer, and he plays a range of things, but primarily oh goodness, Fortnite. And he's full time. And so that it's funny because like generationally we're different. Like I'm almost 50, I'm 48. And you're in your early 30s, correct?
Yeah, I'm 31.
Yeah, so generationally, like that's a little bit of a trip for people my age. Like even knowing, one, that's happening. And then two, that people can do that full time. And I think he's got over 100K followers on Twitch. And I was talking to him about it. I actually, like I said, I had him on the pod. And the thing that I was really interested in is he said, I'm not like the best, I'm not the best Fortnite player, but I'm really good at building community. and connecting with his chat.
Yeah.
And that was something that we actually spent a lot of time on. And that was one of the first times where like it started to make sense to me, like on a deeper level. Like I understand like being willing to watch somebody play games or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it really started to click when he started talking about, you know, like the primary thing I'm doing when I'm streaming is connecting with the chat. And, you know, I thought that was really interesting. So you did the esports coaching. And then we both have some years of teaching under our belt.
Yeah.
And it was about 2 years for you.
It was a year of like kind of not placement, but as I was doing my master's of arts in teaching, I was teaching some science classes, and halfway through that, actually, a teacher went out on maternity leave, and I just took over a class, and that was sixth grade, and that was tough, but it was fun, not too bad. I was still kind of down, and then I had 7th and 8th grade before that, and then I got a job, surprisingly, in my hometown teaching at the school I went to 6th grade at. So it was a really cool full circle moment until it was like, this is awesome, but I don't want to do it. Then it was full survival. It was like, I don't care. You're going to pass.
It's such a bad feeling, man. It's such a bad feeling. Did you ever watch the television show The Wire, that series?
No, I've heard of it.
So, it's really, really great. And maybe it's dated now. I haven't watched it in a long time because it is an older show. But there's a period of time where one of the police officers in the show is no longer a policeman, and so he does this program where he can just become a teacher. And so he starts teaching in this inner city school environment. And I tell you what, man, when that show was so well written, those kids, when he walked in that room, the way those kids started to feast on him made me feel the identical stress that
No, you're so right. So my wife and I started watching Abbott Elementary, and I was like,
okay,
yeah, this sounds good. I guess I'll watch a teaching show. It's, they're only 20-minute episodes. How bad could it be? And the first episode triggered me. Like, it was really like it was really like primal. I was like, I'm back in it. And, but then it got funnier. So then it was fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they're over there and I'm over here. But yeah, it's no joke. It's really
for sure. You know, I think for me, so I taught in alternative schools, so there are kids that are court ordered, but generally there are kids that are court ordered or expelled from their original school, and then they found their way to our program. And I don't think any of them are listening right now. Bobby, good to see you in the chat, man. I don't think any of them are listening now, but if they are, they're aware of the fact that it was not the easiest place. And there was, the last place I was at, there was a fair amount of violence. The discipline situation was pretty wild. So when I left, I feel like it was time, because I still felt like I was able to give it what the job deserved. You know what I mean? Because I've definitely worked with some people, I mean, both in our industry and on the teaching side, that are doing it past the point where they should be doing it.
Yeah. And that speaks to my kind of method. Like I said, I'm 31. My wife and I have been married for like almost 4 years. And for the last, 6 years, I've been jumping between career to career. I went up and did esports coach after graduating. I graduated from Georgia Southern with an exercise science degree. I wasn't in shape. I don't like sports that much. I mean, I like ultimate frisbee, but like, it was one of those things where I was like, I don't want to do biology. That's too hard. And it was just constantly missing the thing that I feel like I should be doing. And so like esports was a passion project, but not a good job. Then I went to teaching, which was a good job, but had no passion. And then I went to mental health, which was kind of a good job and was also a passion project, because I like kind of the psychological topics, and that's something that I think about a lot. But then after that, it was like rock bottom. But I kind of tell myself this as like a cope, but it's like it took me like 10 years or so to really like get out there. I mean, I came from a pretty comfortable background. Like I didn't have to like work. I had a couple jobs in high school, but not because I needed them. So it's very much given me a platform to think about, like, you know, raising my son. Like, you don't have to go to college if you don't want to. Just take some time and think about what you want to do. Cause it's like, all you have to do is engage with the world and figure out what's going on. Cause you don't even know. Like, there was times when I was living with my parents in between some of these moments. And it's like, I would think about like, oh, I should go put out some job applications. And I couldn't even like think of something to go put a job application into that wasn't fast food or something, you know, like a retail store. And that's crazy because that means I didn't know there was a brewery in town. It means I didn't even consider going to a bank or a hospital. It's just like incredible how ignorant you are. And then you finally find something that you're excited to do every day, and you're happy, and you know, you feel good about the money, and you're in a good spot, and you're like, wow, this is really good for me. It's like, man, I wish I would have been doing this like a decade ago. It's like, but you know, you can't think like that. But it's crazy to see like the juxtaposition between when you find something you're happy to do versus the years of just being lost.
Well, you know, I mean, so especially, and I think it's still the case for your generation. I think I think the wheels are starting to turn a little bit. But I mean, when I graduated high school, if you weren't planning on going to college, like you were doing it wrong. Like that was just, and I grew up in a small town, a very working class town. So it wasn't like it was this big affluent area where like college is like super easy, you know what I mean? But like it was still part of the mindset. And, you know, I think you bring up, well, I think it's an interesting thing because I wish. And what we tried to do with our boys is my oldest went to college, my second didn't. And he did 2 years of missionary work and then got into the trades afterwards.
Awesome.
And because that's
everyone loves to hear that now. That's like, it's so funny. Like everyone's like, man, I should have been a plumber. It's like, what world are we living in where it's like all these people who wanted to be doctors are like, I should have just started plumbing. Like I just
should have been a plumber.
Started a lawn care company and made like $200,000 a year. Like it's just crazy.
Well, it's one of those things too, though, where I do wish that, and maybe with some of the advancements that are being made right now on the technological side, I think it will be interesting if we can actually help younger people actually tap into and feed those things that they are interested in and get some diversification. Like one of the things that I kicked myself on is when I was in school, you could go for half day for what they call building trades, and you built a house.
Like a tech school, career school thing.
Yeah. And it was like half of your day, but I was going to go to college. So there wasn't any really time in my schedule for that. And like looking back, I'm like, dude, I think I would have been better off like doing that. Like I would have been able to do a hell of a lot more in my house than I can right now.
It's the ultimate hindsight. Like I'm the exact same. I have the same exact
for sure.
But you just can't know it. You just can't know it until you look back. That's the only way.
Well, and you know, I think ultimately, whatever it is, whether it is, so like my oldest son got a math degree, he loves math. He's crazy about it. And like when I remember like in high school, he would talk to me about like an equation he was working on. Like he was talking about like, you know, like the new Superman movie or whatever, or like, and he's so excited. And I'm like, son, I have no idea what you're saying, but I'm just going to keep nodding and smiling and being excited for you.
Yeah. I'm glad you're pumped about it. Yeah,
exactly. But you know, I do think it's beautiful when you can actually merge those things where like when you were talking about with the brewing industry, you were able to get in and really enjoy it. You know, we had a conversation before doing the podcast, and you had mentioned there's just so many things to learn, you know, with what we're doing and how kind of exciting / challenging that is.
Yeah, I mean, any rabbit hole you find is seemingly infinite. I mean, especially from my position. I mean, even if, you know, I was going to ask John Mallett this while we were at Brees, and I was going to ask him, like, what do you think the next book needs to be written? Because he wrote the malt book. There's a yeast book, a hop book, a water book. But like, is this it? Did we figure it out? Did we win the game? Or like, what's the next level? You know, all these things like hop extracts are coming out. I learned about the tetrahydra alpha isoam, whatever that thing
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
helps
yeah.
with the head retention.
Yeah, Tetra's awesome. Yeah, yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy, what different things are being engineered, and kind of technology will match
Mhm.
exploration and development. But yeah, and even if you go into the more like the recipe creative side of it, it's like, man, it's kind of like music. Like, can you just plug and place any ingredient and you get a new song? Is
Mhm.
like, do you just need to find those 4 chords and it's like, bam, you got a one hit?
Mhm.
But everyone's like, man, I just have to find that one ingredient, but it's like never that easy. It's never
Yeah.
that simple.
Yeah. I remember especially when I started diving into lager brewing. It's kind of funny because, when I first got in, people were still like shooting for some of those IPAs that would like melt the enamel off your teeth with the
Yeah.
bitterness and everything like
And your
that. And
stomach
then,
lining. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And things certainly shift over time, but a lot of people have been really diving into lager, light lager, and really chasing that stuff. And I remember, there would be one more, tip or trick that I would utilize in my lager production. And I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be the thing.
Yeah.
This is like going to be the thing that takes this beer to the next level.
Yeah.
And I think what my experience has been is it seems like you're always just adding things to your tool belt. And yes, you're like incrementally getting somewhere, but it doesn't mean like there's necessarily like an end game,
A
right?
breakthrough. It's not
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not a big
yeah,
jump. It's a small little
yeah,
click.
yeah. So I think it's interesting. So you're on the front of house side. And then do I remember correctly from chatting before that you said you had started helping out on packaging as well?
Yeah. So our head brewer was at another place, and our assistant brewer was brewing, and we had a packaging guy and a cellarman. And so the packaging guy would need help for like 5 or 6 hours in the mornings on Tuesdays to can. And so the cellarman can do all of his DO testing and tank cleaning and all that.
Mhm.
So they would just basically be recruiting from our tap room, and they would try to spread the love. But I very early identified this as something I really want to pursue, because it's not that I was necessarily like a lazy youth, though I probably was. But I finally found something that excited me. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna beg them for every single one of these canning shifts. And I would talk to them so much about it that I would do 3 or 4 in a row, and they'd be like, all right, well, they kind of told us we need to get some of the other people in. And
Uh-huh.
then a day later, they'd be like, we asked everybody and no one wants to do it. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yes, when? Now. Okay. And so I just full sent it. Like I really,
Yeah.
really wanted it. So I would work from about 9 to 4 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
I would go up to the front, I would clock out and then clock back in. And then I would
Yeah.
go work the bar from 4 until 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So that was like,
Yeah.
I was sending every Tuesday. I was doing that day. And so I just wanted it. So it was
Yeah.
just so much fun. And canning itself, like obviously it's considered one of the most like entropy ridden worst experiences of the
Yeah.
brewing process, because you spend all this time and care creating this beautiful product, and then
Uh-huh.
in like one mistake you just blast away like 5 pints of it. Like it's a terribly painful process, but
Yeah.
it's also fun. It is fun, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
the first person to say it. Canning is fun because if you're lucky like me, you're with the boys or the
Yeah.
girls. It could be
Yeah.
ladies' night,
Yeah.
and you're hanging out. You've got low fills around you. There's a speaker behind you.
Yeah.
You're focusing on the process. There's a
Yeah.
tons of moving parts, which is so cool. It's
Yes.
cool. Canning is cool. You
Yes.
can say that,
Yeah.
and it's really like a battle. It's just a
Yeah.
battle. You're constantly managing like, oh man, our lids are down, the pack techs are down. Oh, we got to do a changeover. Oh, we have a partial pallet we need to run. Everyone has their job. It's a big, beautiful symphony of chaos, and it's fun. It's exciting.
Okay, so that canning line that you're describing is certainly there's a little bit more going on than just a basic thing. So does that pack off for you as well, and you're just pulling cases off of it, or are you building cases out of it? So do you have a pack off person?
We have a pack out and we have a fill head person. And the fill head person manages the front half of the machine and the pack out manages the back half. So the fill head person is kind of typically the brewer or one of the more experienced members. And then the pack out will be whoever's helping out or maybe a taproom worker. Me, a year ago. So the fill head person who runs the front, you're constantly managing the decal. We've got a decal, which is raising up layers of cans, that is an absolute pain sometimes because it's like if your slip sheet is just a little bit below the door, it bumps, the slip sheet bends like that, and then cans fly everywhere. And it's literally hundreds of dollars of cans just volcanoing out of this decal. But you get better at it. You learn to identify it. Ours does it at the last 3 rows of every row or of every slip sheet. So the second you see that thing disappear behind the post, you're like, okay, I have to run up there and do this. Anyways. But so that connects to the vibrator and then the twist rinse. And then that gets a little splash. They all fly in. Obviously, you're constantly looking for dented cans and things that are just misshapen because if those get through, you'll cause even more damage. We've got 5 fillers go down with their CO2 purge. And then it fills it. It goes to the lid pick, which you have to constantly watch that carousel. We've got about 4 slots, but we have 2 carousels, so you can always have one like locked and loaded before and in between changeover. And then we got our indexer, which has the seamer and everything. Gives it a little splash, and then it goes to the date coder side. And pretty much the date coder onwards, which is like the conveyor belt, connects to our decoder, gives it the spray, blows it off. They all load into our PackTech applicator. We have a Lotus PackTech applicator, which kind of rules. And then that goes down a little rolly ramp into just a metal table. And then that's where we just have the pack out person vibing, building boxes, creating a pallet. And we'll usually do like somewhere between 2 and 4 pallets. So
What kind of canning line is it?
It is what is it? Bev cannon? Is that what it's called? I don't know the number.
For sure.
It's it's a alpha Bev cannon, I believe.
Yeah. So does the pack off person also monitor the labels and make sure the labels are running appropriately? Or do you have pre-sprayed or pre-wrapped cans?
We do all wrapped, shrinked, and sometimes printed cans, but I think we moved away from some printed cans because you have to buy like a crap load of them to make it worth it. So it made more sense for us to do a little bit of shrinks. So, so that's all taken care of. We have the labeler attachment there, but we haven't used it since I've been there, but I think some people have used it in the past.
It's nice eliminating that variable when you can, for sure. So, would you consider yourself like going from front of house to working on the packaging line? Would you consider yourself like a hands-on, like tactile, like I can fix stuff kind of guy? And being put into that situation, what was that like from that standpoint?
Into the position of canning?
Yeah. So like, are you a fix-it guy? Like if there's a problem with machinery, are you the person that can just dive in and figure it out? Or have you had to like acquire some skills?
Yeah, I'm going to say no. Because I know what a fix-it guy looks like, and that's our head brewer, Robbie. And he just he's the kind of guy that has every size of screwdriver in his backpack at all times.
Yeah.
I sometimes forget my house keys. So that's kind of the dichotomy of us. But that being said, I am a tactile, like hands-on, like I'm not afraid to do anything. I will jump into it, but I am not naturally a fix-it guy. Like it's something that I will slowly learn over time. And, after a couple months, I will be like, okay, I've seen him do this a lot. I have no problem taking this over, but I got to see it a couple times. I got to give it a couple goes and get it in my noggin.
Definitely. I remember I made the transition from doing a whole bunch of, for 12, 13 years of my brewing career, everything was very manual. And then I went to a larger packaging place, and it feels like there's not a single manual valve in the whole place. And, everything is air actuated, and you're operating everything off of a screen. There's always new things to be figuring out, even on that side of things. I mean?
I was at a beer fest standing next to one of our pretty well known Atlanta breweries, and the head brewer there said, well, he said he sold his soul to go work for, I guess, like Anheuser-Busch or something on the weekends. And so I think he was packaging like Michelob or something.
Yeah.
And that he had videos of it on his phone. And I think they did like, I don't know, 1 million cans a day. Pick a number. Like it looked like a Gatling gun. Like it looked like something out of Marvel. It was like I couldn't read the can and they were spinning while they were going. And I was like, that's insane. Like that's incredible. So
it's apples and oranges. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I think there's a few different level ups on the beer side of things.
Yeah.
And I know I've worked at some, pretty rustic or artisanal type places.
Yeah,
and then
which I vibe with. That's the
yeah,
movie.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some of the things it's like I said, it's apples and oranges, man. It's crazy when you tour that stuff. Have you ever been to New Belgium?
No.
Well, when you go out to CBC at some point or whatever GABF,
Hopefully one day I'd love to go to CBC.
Yeah, get out there.
Awesome.
Stuff's in Denver a lot, and you get out to New Belgium. Yes, go for the beer. That's great, and I don't want to go for the beer, but also do the tour. Sign up for their tour because. First of all, I think I was actually just talking to my buddy about this. I think kind of increasingly, I think we need to have good hospitality experiences when people come into our place, as our industry matures, as Bart Watson likes to say. We need good hospitality experiences, and that experience that you have there at New Belgium is really amazing. Whether you're somebody that really knows your beer, somebody that's brewing, whether you're a beer nerd or just anybody off the street, it's a really wild thing. And you do, like, that was the first time that I had seen a situation where there were brewers that were sitting behind computer screens, and I couldn't see water on the floor, and I couldn't see grain on the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everything, like, everywhere was really clean, because we all know there's kind of little nooks and crannies that don't look exactly the way we want them to look in the brew house. But yeah. The scale of production with the whole thing is really wild. So what are you, what kind of, now it doesn't have to be what kind of brew house, what size brew house are you working on, and just ballpark of what you produce in beer in a year?
Yeah, we're at a 15 barrel brew house. So we typically do 1 to 2 turns of twice a week. So we're sitting really close to 2,500 barrels a year. So we're kind of like an average week looks like full canning prep, brew prep, and brew house cleaning on Monday. I'll be canning tomorrow, and then Robbie will be brewing, and then we'll swap, and he'll do kegging on Wednesday, and I'll be brewing. And then Thursday is fill the PO. Not as many hours to fill on a Thursday because we probably spent 11 hours every day, so there might be like 6 or 7. And if we're not cleaning for the next week for some reason, then it's just figure out small projects kind of thing.
Yeah. It sounds like you have a group of people that you work well together with, kind of going back and forth with the different tasks and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. We're one guy just left, so we kind of like downsized, and it was kind of like 3 guys taking on 4 people's work. And so it's me. I'm kind of like a really mid jack of all trades. I do a little bit of brewing. I can clean tanks, but I'm not needed for that, but I can. But I do a lot brew house cleaning, kegging, and canning and brewing. So I do a little bit of that stuff. And then we also have Michael, who had some experience at Tito's. He did some like QA over there. And he's kind of like our super smart cellarman dude who just does all the tests. He could tell you every number, every fact about your beer. He's a beast. He does all of our like in-house cocktail creation and stuff like that. Like anything that goes into a keg is kind of going under his nose first. And then Robbie is our head brewer, and he's got a wealth of experience. He knows how to fix anything. He kind of is the actual jack of all trades. And we just kind of like, whether it's like either somebody gets assigned a task or we all kind of know what we're doing every week. But at any moment, it's like, hey, I need you to cover this. Like, hey, I need to leave now. Can you finish the brew day? Yeah, sure. No problem. So
Sure.
we're extremely flexible, and it's been awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, Beach in the chat. Good to see you in there, Beach. He says that's how it was when my father worked ball metal container. We went to his plant last year for his 35th anniversary. They make him print cans from scratch. The line speed was breakneck fast. Yeah, man, it is crazy when you get into those big production spaces. So you started working on the canning line, kind of picking some things up from there. And then was there like some time in the cellar? Did you go directly to the brew deck? Where did they want help with labor next?
Yeah, so I started in May, and then pretty much by like the end of June or maybe the beginning of July, I had already started brewing and started ramping up my skills. So they asked me to do some cellaring first, and I just pretty much shadowed Michael in the cellar for maybe 2 weeks, and I just kind of got the feel of things. I kind of continued to pack out because we had our fourth guy and he was running the canning line. And so I just kind of kept that stable and learned cellaring for a couple of weeks. But then I pretty much just fast tracked brewing because we were going to lose our head brewer at the time in like 2 months. And at the same time, our current head brewer was going to Japan for a week or a week and a half. So it was like, we need somebody now. So I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Let's do it. And he was like, all right, you're going to take notes and watch me brew one day. And then the next week, he's like, you're going to take notes again and make them better. And then the next day, he's like, you're brewing. I was like, all right. So, it took long and there's probably lots of mistakes. But after that, I was basically double brewing. So we have like typically 2 brew days a week. I did both of those for, I don't know, several months. So it was just trial by fire.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think they saw in what you are bringing to the table that one kind of said, hey, like, let's let this guy kind of be our full-time packaging guy, and then 2 in very short order say, let's get this person on the brew deck?
I think it was just the fact. I mean, I'm a pretty positive guy. I'm pretty easy to be around. So I think I think there's a lot of introverts in. I guess I'm not super experienced to say that, but it feels like sometimes there's a lot of introverts in this profession.
Sure.
They're either introverts or the second they get a beer in their hand, they're extroverts. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to judge what people's real personalities are. Maybe I need to like do more of these at like 9 a.m. and really see what these people are like. Yeah. But so I think we had a relatively introverted staff. Out of 5 guys, 4 of them were like, I don't have to talk to you, but I will. There's no problem with that.
Sure.
So I was kind of like a social glue in a way. Yeah. And I really wanted to be there. Like I really wanted to be there. I did anything and everything anyone asked me, and I tried to do my best. I'm starting to juggle a little bit more tasks now, and I'm starting to feel that kind of like effort plateau where I'm like, I need to learn how to do more things, but like I'm drowning, so I just need to stay afloat. So I'm kind of in the middle of that right now, but I think they just saw somebody that really wanted it, and it's just like, how could you not be so passionate about this? Because it's just so much fun, and it's like, I don't know, we just make beer, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Definitely. So that's an interesting training technique, and I'm not being facetious or anything about that. I think there's a lot of utility to having somebody note take through it, and kind of getting that second pass, and then starting to get hands on. Was that approach like the absolute right thing for you? Like, is that the perfect fit?
Yeah, 100%. Because it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, I have 2.5 college degrees. I have a master's and half of another one. And it's like, you can sit in school all day and it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously school is important, but like you have to kind of like take it with a grain of salt or whatever and be like, okay, at some point you just have to do it. So this 1-2 punch of learning brewing was so cool because, I did okay in school. I sometimes had a 3.0. I was in honors. I did, some good classes, whatever. I've got a college degree, but none of that really matters until you have to do something that matters. Like I can't I can't mess up this beer. That's
Yeah.
step one. Don't mess up the beer. So it was like, okay, take your notes. And it's like, you just write your butt off. And he's like, okay, ask me any questions the whole time. And I was like, okay, we'll try to do that. And then it was like, okay, refine your notes, get that honing process in, really make sure there's no holes in what you're seeing, and make sure they're actually spaced out correctly, and create your own SOP. And then the second you start reading your own notes, it's all you. It's all you. There's no textbook. There's no person telling you what to do. Obviously, he held my hand basically and made sure I didn't mess anything up. But it was incredible. It was like the best possible teaching scenario, I feel, because it kind of showed me that I could learn it, because we just kind of did it so fast. In 2 weeks, I was in. That being said, now that I think about it, the first time I brewed was a watermelon goza, and he was like, "Oh yeah, make sure you put your rice." We're using a brute trash can. Make sure you put your rice hulls in on this side. You don't want to bump into the auger. Bumped into the auger. We didn't know. I probably left like, I don't know, 80 pounds of grain in our grist case because I accidentally hit the emergency thing. We're at the end of the brew day and our gravities are whack. Like they are, I don't know, 1030 or something. It was just like, and we're all scratching our heads. Because, normally you clean out the little slip plate between the second auger and the grist case. But you don't have to do that the second brew day because, you're going to be cleaning the next week anyway. So it's kind of one of those tasks. So it was like it was until the next week. He was like, "Hey, Jeff, come here." He's up on a ladder staring down at the grist case at just a mountain of grain. I was like, huh. So I believe we might have even still been in alcohol spec. I think we were in that bottom wiggle room, but it was very close, and we did can that one, so that was kind of spooky.
For sure. Yeah, it's I don't know. I always, one of the things that I always liked on the training side, I always like to have some sort of an SOP, but I do like to have that person walk through it. When I was at the last spot I was at, Sonder, it was a relatively involved brew day, even though 90% of it was automated. There was a lot of things that you had to monitor and adjust along the way. But so indeed. But yeah, so you've been diving in on the hot side of things, and what has been some of the biggest challenges of doing hot side operation and kind of learning that thing?
I think so I haven't really had to do any recipe creation. We've kind of most of our beers are created, but also when it comes to the new ones, we kind of plan as a team, which means our head brewer has no problem carrying that load. And I'll pitch some things in like, oh, this hop looks interesting. It has a different character. It might fit well. We try it. It's fine. That would be difficult for me to pick up right now. I could probably get by with, I know how to use Brewfather. I know how to research with some of the materials that I have. I could probably survive making a decent beer by myself, but that is something that I definitely don't have as much experience in. And then just having to brew different beers, it's like learning the different processes for specific things is very interesting. Like you can get if you know your way around your brew house, you can do many different things. So like our biggest beer right now is it's kind of like a hazy East Coast IPA, but it's very fruity. It's not too heavy. It's like 6.5. It's Cloudbreaker. It just got into Publix. We're in like over 100 Publixes. So we're kind of like leveling that up. It's very exciting. And I love that beer. It's a great beer. But it is the day. It's the hard day. And because I always brew on Wednesdays and we always save the heavier, hoppier beer so we don't demolish our Heat-X and plug that up full of hops, I'm always brewing that beer, which is probably good for me. But, over time, you're like, all right, let me get off this beer for a little bit. But so, having to learn, okay, instead we have a 3-vessel system. So we're in the boil. We finish our boil. We're whirlpooling at the end. Now we have to use the Heat-X to loop back into the whirlpool and cool down to like sub 180 or whatever for our whirlpool hops. And so it's like being able to learn all of the different, like slightly tweaked style specific things. It took a while for that to kind of like build up, but that one I'm not struggling with as much these days.
For sure.
Another thing I didn't expect to be difficult is over time you kind of like automate, but then you have like skill drift or something. I don't know if that's a word, but like adding rice hulls has been a bit of a meme for me because I see guys on like, I don't know, 30 barrel systems and they're just launching them in and that stuff's just blendering. And I'm like, if I add my rice hulls a minute too late or a minute too early, I swear my mash tun bricks up so often. And I'm like, dude, I swear I did this exact same. And so we're constantly tweaking our SOP and I'm trying to dial in my rice hulls. And even if I do it the same way 2 days in a row, I'll get a different result somehow. So some of that has been kind of like, you just got to stay on top of it. It's very easy to get complacent and you know, realize you may have started out doing something correctly, but you'll randomly build a bad habit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember, I think one of the things, so I had been at this brewery down here in Ohio, that I moved down here for. And, you know, it was to the point, one of the things that I love about brewing is I'm not big on like working when I don't need to be working. So every once in a while though, you end up in that situation where like, okay, so usually you're a Monday through Friday brewery, but for some reason you're brewing on a Saturday or on a Sunday. And the nice thing about that though is that the brewery is empty. It's silent other than the noises you're making and the brewery is making. And you can just kind of get into like this. Yeah, you get like this symbiotic thing with the brew house, right? Like, you know, all the noises, you know, all the processes, and it's like, it's very calming. And there's almost like that ritual to it, right? That's something yeah, man, that's something that I've always loved. You know, the smells, you know, all the things. And there's something that it's still magic to me. It's still magic to me. And I forget, that was actually like gonna lead into a thing, but I forgot what I was rolling with. But you know, having really well developed SOPs put together, and then I had two people working with me when I was at Cartridge. You know, it's funny because both when I started to shoot content in the brewery, when I started to make like brew days, I would show everybody what I was doing. Both that and training, sometimes like you can get distracted by like the coaching or teaching that you're doing, whether you're doing that to a camera or to, you know, like another person.
Easily.
Yeah, you can get rolled up in that. And I do think it's ultimately about like finding that balance of like, all right, what is like getting into that flow state a little bit and enjoying yourself. You know, you can be aware of the music that's on, you can be singing and or rapping along, but also like still being cognizant of what's going on. Because I am, it was a handful of years ago, but I took like a 90-minute personality test. Like, it was a paid for thing. It wasn't like some 10-question thing on the internet. And I tested out like in the 99th percentile for extroversion. Okay. And so I get like, my wife always says that she's never been as happy as me, and she's never been as sad as me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, it. like, yeah, like I feel
high
all
highs,
the
low lows. 100%.
So, yeah, I do think it is about finding some balance with that, because, and I don't know, like, hopefully, like for me, some of the stuff that has taught me the lessons are like small mistakes or small injuries. You know what I mean? Like small burns, small cuts, like little things like that, you know. And did you ever listen to the Master Brewers Association has a podcast that they run at least once a year?
I've heard of it.
Oh goodness. Yeah. that is, you could probably just listen to the intro of it, but that's wild. It is one of those situations where we do have to be mindful, not even obviously because we want to be carrying out our processes correctly and we want to be hitting our numbers, all that stuff, but also from the safety standpoint too. You know what I mean? But it is a balancing act between not being a nervous wreck and just like having, too much fun doing what you're doing.
Because I mean, when I started brewing by myself, if like our head brewer had to be gone, or if if they had to go both like unload a grain pallet or a grain truck or something, I'd be by myself, and I could almost feel questions that I knew the answers to seep into my head, and I'd be like, I should text them, and then it's like, dude, if you just stop thinking, you will say the answer. Like that's like that was a very common thing for me. So that being said, I also, anytime that does happen, I just write down, I have a note folder with our lager cooling temperature and our ale fermenting temperature at the very top. So that's just the name. Cause that was the very first thing I was like, I'm not asking this question anymore. 6870. Gotcha. I'm not going to say it anymore. So like it started with that. And now it's very long. So it is, it's just jam packed with questions that I've asked too many times. So,
so you obviously you have people in the building that can help with questions. What have been, for other people, that are, in a similar spot you are, they're in the early portions of their brewing career. What have been some of the resources that you've been able to leverage to put yourself in a better place at work?
Just like to help buttress some of my skills, you're thinking?
Sure. Yeah. Anything. It could be something that's like brewing specific, something that's like, I don't know, anything.
I mean, I like I said, I wasn't a perfect student, but I was okay. But sure. A lot of people experience this where they go to college and they realize they're not really good at taking notes.
Yeah.
I wasn't either. I did very mid at college. The only reason why I got above a 2.75 was so I could play for the esports team at my undergrad. So that paints the picture very well. But then I started coaching league, and I realized I had to take down a lot of notes, a lot of information, and break down all the key things. And so I would say taking down notes has kind of been a very core thing for me. And it's not something that I would have identified, a year or two ago, where I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be important to me. Like it's really crazy how much like journaling and documenting things, even if you're doing it for emotional reasons, but just really cataloging your thoughts and making sure you're like, okay, this is what we did. This is like, I don't know how many times, I've just written down some random bit of information and end up being extremely useful. Like, oh yeah, what was the temperature of that tank whenever we were canning that? Like, oh, well, good thing we have a log of that now.
Yes.
It's just good notes just is good decisions. So I'm a big fan of that. And that's coming from someone who did okay in school.
Yeah, I was pretty similar. So when you said you went back and taught at your middle school, I was not a good student. But so in my teaching career, I had a teacher that would call somebody that you love the student themselves, but sometimes you hated having them in class. She would call them a happy naughty. So they're like, like a kind of a naughty kid, but like you're happy to see them always, but they can also kind of, break you in class. And I think I must have had some of that because I went through, got my degree in history and education. And then I started subbing and I went back to my old high school, dude. And most of the teachers were super cool. And I was calling, Mr. and Mrs. And then they're like, oh, call me, call me Tim or whatever. And that was crazy. That's like that surreal experience. And so I had my prep period. I didn't have a class that I had to sub for. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go into the teacher's lounge. And so I walk in there and our old Spanish teacher, she had all of her materials out. She's clearly grading papers. And I walked in and I said, hi, how are you doing? She looked at me, sighed really deeply, packed up all of her things and walked out the room.
Jeez.
I know it was rough. So I can identify. Well, I have a feeling I may have been a little bit of a, one of the happy Dotties back in the day. But no, school wasn't my thing. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but I mean, I wasn't a good student. And my wife, I think if anything, if I progressed academically, it was just because I was trying to convince her that I was some measure of something masculine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to convince her that I'm manly. So she'll want to be around me. But yeah, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people in our industry, me included, that, some of the sitting on your butt listening to somebody else talk thing doesn't cut it. You know what I mean? It helps to be doing something hands-on and physical. So
I think it's because brewing makes you feel really smart. There's a lot of smart things happening, but you don't have to be smart to start brewing. That's the cool thing. It's a very difficult sciencey thing, but you can be a complete caveman and be boiling stuff on your stove. And I know this. I did this. This is how I homebrewed before I bought my little rig, which I barely use now, obviously. But it was I was just pumping out beers that were terrible. It was really incredible. But yeah, it was fun. And
so you were brewing at home at some point?
Yeah, I homebrewed before a couple times before I even joined production. Actually, 4 or 5 times before in that like 8-month period. And I would bring my beers into the brewers, and they'd be like, "Wow, this is something." And no, they were really good about it. They were like, "Oh yeah, I think this is actually lower alcohol. It might not be done fermenting, and there's a little bit of diacetyl in it." Yeah. And they said all those things. And it didn't offend me at all because I didn't know what they were talking about. They were just speaking right over my head. And now I have a foundation of memories of that because now it's like I know, like, and
a bunch of secondhand hurt feelings now. Now that you know what all the things mean, you're like,
it's not hurt feelings. It's shame. I know. It's unadulterated shame because I was like, man, that was bad. Acetaldehyde was a big one. I tried to make like a cream ale or something with my friend, just infected the heck out of it, and it was a green apple sour blonde. It was so bad, and I couldn't stomach it.
Well, and I think most times, people don't know. I mean, you're sometimes you're like, oh, I want something light and easy drinking, and it's like, especially when you're first learn your stuff, make something with some flavor, man. Make something with some aromatics, something to couch maybe some of those less pleasant.
Put some noise in there to drown out some of the mistakes. 100%. And I made a red ale and like a reddish ale. I actually ended up throwing more two-row in it, so it kind of just oranged out a little bit. But I just threw some hops in there, and that was probably the first one I made that just wasn't infected. And it wasn't that bad, and it wasn't too out of spec. It was just a kind of light red ale, and it tasted fine. And I will say, I'm really bad at tasting things. I don't have the repertoire, the history of it yet, but I'm slowly building it. I'm starting to learn words and kind of memories. And I had this kind of red, coppery colored ale, and it kind of gave me a metally taste, and it was fine. And then yesterday, my wife and I went and saw Good Fortune, the movie. Very good. Nice. Love Keanu Reeves. But we went out to this place in Warner Robins called Black Barley. They got like 100 taps. It's a cool spot. I got a Dale's Pale Ale, which I'd never had before. And that just nostalgia bombed me like 2 years ago. And it was like, this is what I made. This kind of genre of like orange, coppery colored, almost like a ESB colored thing that's between a red and a pub ale like that. I made that. So I got like another point of like relation on it. Now I kind of know where to like file that memory into.
Sure. And, even you talking about that's so like, that fires up like such like powerful memories for me. It is crazy how there's the beverage itself that we're making. There's drinking it, sharing it, there's remembering it. That's all. It's all really powerful stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's all really powerful stuff. Before I get off the production side of things, I wanted to mention, you know, I think sometimes we can take for granted how, you know, regionally people are making and selling different beers, and that might sound like kind of a dummy comment, but you know, I mean, you know, regionally we're making different beers. I remember when I went out to Minnesota for craft brewers conference, and you know, that was when we were really starting to get into lagers and whatnot. And so
And you couldn't find any, or
oh, we could definitely find it,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was cool to like, it was cool to see like some of the regional differences.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because and some of it is because it's sometimes like in sports, you have like a coaching tree where you have brewers that come from, you know, similar lineages and whatnot.
Yeah, they're
And
all
so there's
inspired by each other.
yeah, and so there's some of that as well, but there definitely is some regional differences. So I do like to touch on, so like in Macon, Georgia, what are the big distro beers that you are sending out? What are some of the larger production beers that you're doing?
So just us, the Cloudbreaker, the East Coast IPA is pretty big,
Okay.
but we were actually just talking about this today. Robbie mentioned that we kind of have to just call it an IPA. We don't put East Coast on there because that doesn't mean anything to the people drinking it here. They don't know. All they know is that they hate IPAs, but they just know that the real thing is that a West Coast is too bitter for them. And so we serve at football games because we're kind of like buddy partnered with Mercer University. One of our owners went there. And so one of these guys walked up to Robbie while he was bartending, and it was like, I don't want the IPA. I really don't like it. He's like, well, just try it. And so he tries our very like grapefruit IPA, right? So the funny thing is he loves grapefruit. He hates West Coast IPAs, and he can't have grapefruit anymore because it's too acidic. But he still drinks beer. So it was just the most beautiful moment for him, because he was like, oh my God, that's so good. And it was just a cool moment. So our culture is, it's not ahead of the times. It's kind of behind the times. And but our biggest ones, I would say, it's a lot of lighter lagers, a lot of American lagers, and a lot of East Coast IPA. And that
as
kind
far
of
as those
sense.
American lagers go, is that like an adjunct lager? Is that all malt,
like
or do you have an adjunct in there?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of 2-row and corn.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Just simple, sweet.
Any idea on like the percentage of corn, just roughly?
Yeah, is it like 20% or something? It's not
awesome.
high, but it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I did the math while I was at the Breeze conference, because they said anywhere between 10 and 30 is about the range for a lot of these adjuncts.
Sure.
And I think ours is like low 20s, maybe like 21.
Yeah. I love, for me, like I when I started making adjunct lager, that beer kind of, and it's always such a disappointment, like when you give a tour or whatever, and people are like, oh, so what's your favorite thing right now? I'm like, well, you know, really dialing in the rice lager that we have out there is the thing that I'm most into. Exactly, right?
Yeah, I'm so down. Like it's a less is more thing, because people are like, how much flavor can you pack into it? And you're like, no, how many other flavors can I strip away from this pure, beautiful little beer? And that's I'm very much with you. Like, we have a beer we're super excited about, is we did a first time we ever did a cerveza in like 4 or 5 years, and it was our idea because we just crush Modelo's. We all love Modelo's, so that's just a huge beer of ours. And so our head brewer made this recipe, and I don't know if he'd ever made one before, but he was like, this is what I've heard was a cool idea. It's got a little bit of rice, a little bit of corn, a lot of Pilsner malt, bag of Carapils for good measure. Yeah. Beautiful. We were just all enamored with this beer. And so we're bringing it back as kind of a more, like mainstay type beer. We're going to probably see it a couple more times, and we're just so excited for it and just kind of working on that beer.
And especially from a pub's standpoint, I know every place is different, but I mean, when I started rolling out a few more lagers. So Cincinnati is a relatively, they have some pretty historical beer brands. There's a large German influence here, so there's a lot of tradition in the brewing scene here. And the brewery that I was at the time, Cartridge Brewing, was built into this old munitions factory for World War I, World War II. It's this massive thing. They renovated the whole thing. There's like 200 apartments and then the brewery. It's cool. It's on a bike trail. There's a river right there. It's a very cool spot. So and I think that the original ownership there kind of wanted to have like those Hot Boy releases where it's like, people are lining up on a Saturday to come and get, the $40 4-packs of hazy, whatever. But that really wasn't our customer base. Like, it was more of a pub scene, and the people were like my age and older primarily, and they wanted like beer that went with food and stuff that was approachable. And so
I literally have the book right here, the beer pairing book. We were working on it for our Oktoberfest class.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah. And so, I started slowly like rolling out some more like German styles, just stuff that's food friendly, stuff that people kind of ask for on the pub side. And an adjunct lager like that in a pub, in my experience, and again, it can be different from place to place, dude, you can crush with that thing.
Yeah, 100%.
You can sell so much of it.
Yeah. It's incredible to consider your kitchen when you're brewing. Like, it's not something a lot of places have to do, because some places don't even sell food, or they'll have like a food truck that might rotate. But we do sandwiches at ours, so it's kind of all pretty simple pairings. But we definitely do our best to like pair some of our lighter lagers with some of our heavier sandwiches and stuff like that. My experience with this, I'm very new to that as well. I'm not a foodie per se. I'm very easygoing. Like, don't spit in my food. I'm happy. Like, I'm not gonna, no complaints. I'm not giving anyone below 5 stars on an app. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I went to this Black Barley place. It's a great spot. I could go other places, I swear, but this place is cool. Warner Robins is kind of lame. No, but I went there and I got an old Rasputin with a brisket burger.
Yeah, I do.
I wanted to throw up. That was, but that was on me. I was like, I haven't had this before, so I'm going to try it. And then as my blackberry barbecue sweet savory brisket burger showed up, I was like, I'm really hungry too. And it was,
Old Rasputin, I've enjoyed that beer in the past. That's
rules.
One of my great beer. That's one of those ones I remember buying, like when I first got into craft beer, and you're like, oh wait, it comes in 10%.
Yeah,
it's like the Hobbits when it comes in a pint. It comes in pints. Yeah, it comes in 10%. And so when I was just buying all the high alcohol stuff I could buy,
and
that was one of my go-tos, man. That's a great beer. That's
why
beer.
I got into IPAs. I know I look like an IPA guy, but but I got into them because of the number. If you go to any brewery and you see 7+% or like an Elysian Space Dust or whatever, you're like, yeah, of course I'm ordering that at Buffalo Wild Wings. it's like $6 and I'm gonna get trashed. Like, that's every time. The flip side to this story, however, we just got a new place, which I believe is a chain. It's one of those, like, you register a little QR code watch thing and you get to pour your per ounce. You pay for the ounce. It's pretty neat. It's kind of some extra steps, but it's cool. And I tried the Greater Pumpkin. I don't know where it's from. I think it's from like North Carolina or something. I tasted it. I was like, oh, this tastes kind of heavy, but I had a light crispy pizza with it this time. And that was awesome. That was a good balance. I thought I was like, man, this might be like 9%. It was 10%. And it was like $3 because I only got like a half pour.
Sure.
Still got trashed. That was too much for me on a Sunday afternoon with my family.
That
one was on me though. I didn't read, so.
Well, I'm hoping so. I've not drank beer in a couple of years. But I actually have somebody, I talked to somebody on Instagram that works for 100% gluten-free brewery.
Cool.
And so they're out of Denver. I'm forgetting who they are. I have to figure out. I tried to order on my phone and it got stupid. So I'm gonna have to try on my laptop. And so I haven't had because dude, there's just times where I like a cocktail. I can do I can do spirits, and stuff like that. But there's a difference. There's times that are for beer. You know what I mean? And I miss that. And honestly, these days, I don't even, I might have a few drinks a month. You know what I mean? So it's not like I miss that. It's like I miss that thing because it's
ritual
built for that.
of it.
Yeah. Because this time is built for that.
It.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've got my fingers crossed on it. So I mentioned Instagram, and this is going to be my professional segue. So I originally found you on Instagram with some of your reels that have absolutely crushed it. And I told myself, I saw your stuff, and I'm like, this is a guy that that has either done it before or just has the knack for it. So yeah, talk to me a little bit about some of the stuff that you've done in the past on the content side and that you're doing now on the content side.
My content when I played video games was very different. It was like pure science. It was like, this is how you win. This is the boring nitty-gritty of every single situation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And so I would post, 30-minute long analysis of games. And they would sometimes get a couple thousand views. Nothing did amazing. But on Instagram, I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm following some core base tenets here. Don't use complicated language. So if you're teaching something, don't use any 3-syllable words. Keep it simple. Even the jokes are kind of simple. Anytime an idea pops in my head, wouldn't that be funny if blank? I just do it. And I even talked about note-taking before. Now I have in my notes folder, I have that one helpful note page with all my good information. And then I have almost 400 just ideas of videos, and half of them are done. The other half are just kind of waiting. So I'm just pumping out funny stuff. That's kind of my MO.
Yeah, I like it. What do you like about it?
If something makes me laugh, that means I'm laughing while I'm thinking of the idea. I have a video about canning line superstition. It's the one where I'm looking at one of our guys and I'm just like this, and he's like, and it's you don't say anything because know. And I think I'm about to do another one of these because it's just a funny topic. And then our cellarman Mike's like, "Yo, nice canning run," and then we force fault it, and it's starts beeping at us, and we're just like, "Dude." So, but that video was a really seminal video for me because every industry has that.
Yes.
And no words were used.
Yes.
But it did so well, which means all of these times where I'm like, I really want to talk about the culture of brewing and how much it means to me. Sometimes that's not as important as just communicating a very simple idea that reaches a wide audience. And it's it's kind of interesting. So a lot of these videos are, they can be group projects too. A lot of them are my ideas, but I'll run punchlines by the other guys, and they're just change this word, and it's 10 times better. So that video particularly, I was talking to our head brewer, and I was like, yeah, this didn't quite land. I know when it's supposed to be funny, but it wasn't. It was almost funny. And he was like, just cut that. And it just fixed it completely. And then you do all this work and you're having fun. You're laughing while you're recording it. And if you're recording in the middle of a canning line, you are setting yourself to spear some cans with your fill head. And I've done that a couple of times, but most of the time I'm not, losing the company money. But you have fun recording it. You have fun thinking of the idea. You have fun talking about it. You have fun editing it. You have fun uploading it. And then you have fun watching other people watch it. It just rules. It's just like brewing. You're just creating this thing that you like, and everyone tells you how cool it is, and it's like that's
Sure.
a lot of fun and dopamine. So gotta watch that.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, social media is a plague. But if you use it in moderation, just like beer,
Sure.
it can actually add a certain color to your life.
Sure. You know, it was funny. I've been doing educational stuff since 2022 on YouTube, and there's been some spillover onto Instagram. I kind of try to use Instagram to make people aware that, you know, I'm doing this stuff on YouTube.
Right.
And so you know, I started doing, you know, by the time I started doing this stuff, I had stopped using social media and for like a couple of years, and then so as a 45-year-old I had to figure out how to use Instagram, and that's something in and of itself. But I remember, so I would take snippets of like longer stuff that I was doing or whatever, so people would see that, you know, oh hey, there's a guy who's like brewing and talking about what he's doing and why he's doing it, right?
Yeah.
And that stuff does fine. But then I remember I had a joke or a picture or something I thought was funny, and I don't even remember if it was a repost or not. It could have been a repost, and I posted it, and it got so much interaction.
Right.
And it was, one, cool because it's nice to get interaction, but two, it was also like, oh no, like this is this does so much better than what I do. You know what I mean? So, you know, actually this past week I haven't, but generally I just do like CapCut style, like brewing-ish related memes, and that stuff almost always does better than the content stuff. But it's just something that magnifies, you know what I mean? Like that's how I pull followers for meme stuff, and then maybe some of those trickle into the content or the educational side.
Yeah, come for the meme, stay for the content.
Yeah. So that's kind of been my thing. I remember I actually told one of the other brewer dudes, I'm like, yeah, I posted this thing. I'm like, this is better than anything I've ever done. Maybe I just need to start doing meme stuff. But no, I think, you know, used, you know, for what I'm doing, like used in the right way, it helps. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes that can fall into a larger conversation around social media. I think there's so many people in our industry and outside of our industry, but especially in our industry, that are posting still pictures of burgers and still pictures of pints. And the only people that like those things, half the people that like that content work for the brewery. And yeah, I mean, and that's a real thing. And so, you know, I think that there's tremendous value, one, in having a situation where you have brewers that are willing to make content, because they are the people that are behind the scenes. There's a lot of value to that. And then there's something larger about having fun with it. But yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think, and you and I have talked about this, but I'm giving a talk at the Georgia Craft Brewers Guild. I don't know when the class is. I think they might have posted the schedule, but I'll be doing essentially a workshop on social media, brewers and social media. And I think you're absolutely right. I think it's one of those things where it's like, and you know, brewers are a snarky group. I think stereotypically, we're the punk rock of the food crew. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but that's, you get what I'm saying.
No, I used to say, like, I think being a brewer is the, like, I'm in a band of the trades. Yeah. It's like people like to tell people that they're in a band because it's cool. Yeah. And like, I think that being a brewer is like, it's like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyways, go ahead.
It's incredible. We're in a really interesting position where we're relatively creative, typically. Not true for everybody, but if you are creative and you do like being funny, which I do, and you have the slightest knack for editing, which you don't really need as long as you pose your shots correctly, you can really put together some hard-hitting stuff, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I often find that the more I edit a video, the worse it does. Sure. So if I do 3 clips where it's like setup, twist, punchline,
Yeah.
50,000 views, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But if I edit a video and change the speed and tweak the audio and add music and put text on there,
Yeah.
it might click, but chances are that's just another variable that I'm going to mess it up. It's kind of like I'm trying to do too much. It's like having 15 hops in your boil.
Yeah.
If you do too much, it's going to take away from the final product. So I think there's a very direct metaphor there.
Sure.
But like you said, I think we're in a crazy position. And what really upsets me is a brewery that doesn't have good social media.
Yeah.
Because we, like I've said in the past, there's so much cool stuff going on, whether it's in the tap room or at the brew house or just hanging out. I think a place that does this correctly, I think is like Station 26 or something. I think they're from, I don't know, they're from the Northeast. Yeah, they rule. There's this guy that does their social media. I don't even know if he's a brewer, but he rules. He's hilarious. Martin House Brewing in Austin or Fort Worth, I think. Their can arts are crazy. Their brewers are always going out to lunch and they're just vlogging it for some reason and they're just trolling. They're just having a good time, and that is straight vibes. It is so good. And I watch every one of their videos and I comment because I want them to succeed. It's so good.
Sure.
So a lot of places are, I mean, a lot of people are kind of intimidated by social media. They go like, oh, that's, like you were kind of alluding to, you're like, man, are you 50 plus and trying to dabble with Instagram for the first time? That's not, no one's happy about that. But it doesn't have to be that way. It's really just a skill you can grow just like anything else.
Sure. What would be some advice for people that want to be stepping up their game when it comes to content, brewery specific?
Like if they work in a brewery and they want to get into content.
Yeah. Or even like, just, I don't know. I feel like so many people feel like, well, I'm not the kind of person that can have a camera on me. I'm not the kind of person that can do this, that, or the other thing. What are your thoughts on that?
The secret to that is text to speech. Don't be in front of the camera. Record a setting, record a thing. Don't be the narrator. Don't let anyone know what your voice sounds like. But that's the cool thing is the medium shifts. If you don't have to be a good speaker, but if you're a good writer, if you have good ideas, those will come through. Like how many times on TikTok do you, I mean, I don't use TikTok, but how many times do you see someone watching a video on TikTok like, I went to the mall, I bought this bag, and this
bro, that's not bad.
It's crazy. But you know what I'm talking about.
And it's the same voice. Yeah.
And it's funny. And I'll use that for something too. It's just funny. So like I did a video that was which did really well. I don't know how many it got. Maybe like it was somewhere over 100,000 views. But it was how our tap room puts down hoses. Why would a single person be interested in how our tap room puts down hoses? Now, we were really good friends with our old social media person who was this nice, lovely young lady. And she was very kind of like stereotypically not what a brewer would look like. So you have a bunch of like bearded metal dudes. And then you have a blonde girl who's very sweet. And I was like, hey, just put this hose down however you want to. And she pantomimed it perfectly. She daintily and carefully put it on the ground. And she's like, did I do it right? I was like, Joiner, you did perfectly.
Nailed it.
And so no one spoke in this video. It was just how our tap room puts down hoses. And then she does that. And I think there's some funny music or something like, do, 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 like, and then I do it and I go a brewer and I do the little kind of like steel toe foot kick where you drop the hose on your foot. Very classic. That was kind of educational. Some people might not have known about that. And then I told Mike, our cellarman, who used to do Muay Thai, he's got big old arms and he's covered in tattoos. I was like, brother, slam this hose down on the ground. And we were like, well, what if we break the end of it? I was like, oh, that's a drain only hose anyway. So
that's a drain hose. I was going to say, I hope that's a drain hose.
He just Hulk smashes this thing. And then I guess to kind of counteract one of my previous points, I did over edit that one on purpose with just an obscene amount of cuts just to make it look stupid. That was a solid video. It was one of my favorite videos because it incorporated a lot of people. It was fun. It was fun.
Hey, Dan, thanks for the kind words. Good to see you in here over on Instagram. Man. So what are you using to when you record these things, people like to know, like, what are you doing equipment wise, or is this all happening on your phone?
I usually do phone, tripod. That's it. Our owner actually for my birthday this year got me a like little just kind of starter mic, a little lapel mic, and I use it all the time. It rules.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that expensive.
How does it hook up to your iPhone? Does it plug in or is it Wi-Fi?
Right there. Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Just a little port. It rules. One of the funny things though is that if you've ever listened to Gary Vee's content, he's like, oh, some people are like, you know, they make all this amazing content and they use drones and 4K. He's like, dude, you can use your phone and capture the eyes of millions of people.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, if I were to look on my phone and go to my Instagram and check on my top videos that I have pinned at the top, one of them is my superstition video. That's at 4.7 million.
Yep.
That I used a tripod once, I think, and then we just had someone hold it. I have a video of me shooting a can with like a little pressure thing before our date coder on our canning line. I just recorded that a 17-second video and uploaded it and put some text on it. In my hand, 8.1 million views. I don't know why. The next one, I have a couple of like ones where I'm talking at the bar, just saying dumb stuff. One has 2 million, one has 791,000. Those I just propped my phone up against a tissue dispenser. So it is not the stuff you have. Now I will say I was started with a Android and I am happier that I have like one of the newer iPhones. I needed to upgrade anyways. But I believe I got the 8 million views on the worst phone I've had in 5 years. So it is not, it is the barrier to entry is so low.
Yeah.
If there's even like a percentage of you that wants to make content, you should just do it.
Yeah, and it was funny because it was Gary Vee that motivated me to start doing the educational stuff a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, back then I was recording on a iPhone SE, which I think is an iPhone 8. Nice. And then I got like a really junky wireless mic. And listen, I mean, those early Brew Day videos that I was doing was not like the video and audio quality isn't great, but it's still me being able to show people what I'm doing. You know what I mean? They're watching for what's happening.
And it's the message.
Absolutely.
It's not the quality of the message. I think this Rizzlord person in YouTube chat is one of my guys. I think he's a friend from down under, a brewer at a brewery in Australia. So
hey, Rizzlord.
If that's you, what's up, brother? But yeah, that's it's if you can share a message, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the pilot episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia was shot on an iPhone. So like what are we doing, right? If it's good enough for Charlie Day, it's good enough for me.
Right.
Man.
Right.
So
yeah, I think that's awesome. What else?
Well, I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So you say that you do content full time. Is that what you? Okay.
Yes.
So do you have a home brewery? Do you have a main brewery that you work for, or how does that work?
No. So what my situation is it was a year ago today. So I've been working full-time in breweries for 14 years. I started making content alongside of that. One, because of, I have those teacher bones inside of me. And so, and I really loved that. I found out how much I love training people and trying to help people make smart decisions about getting into the industry, because people are leaving high-paying jobs and or spending lots of money to build these things. And so I like trying to help people make informed decisions, right? And when I moved down here, I didn't see that there was a lot of YouTube stuff for pro side folks, and so that's what made me want to start doing it. One of the charming things about my ADHD is I forgot what your question was. What was your question again?
Did you have a home? Did you have like a home base?
Yes.
But
so I was brewing, but now. So, anyways, I was making the content. doing the content stuff. And then I got laid off in October of last year.
Sick.
And that summer, I was already talking with my wife about, if I'm going to take things to the next level with the Adam Makes Beer stuff, and I saw a lot of promise with it, I'm like, I feel like I need to be able to give it more energy than what I can do when I'm working full time in a brewery. So it ends up the cards got played for me, and I got laid off. And so my wife and I flip-flopped roles. And so now my wife is working. I'm stay-at-home dadding a few days a week. And then what I do now for in-brewery content is I partner with area breweries. I'm going to actually be brewing with at a place in Florida. I'm going to be tying together a little family vacation around Thanksgiving.
Cool.
Where are you in Florida? I'm going to be in Orange Beach, visiting my parents who snowbird down there. And then I'm forgetting off the top of my head, is there... Crap.
That's down by Pensacola. Okay.
Yeah, down by Pensacola. But I'm going to be driving past Pensacola to brew with the dude. Maybe his name's Brian. I have to go back and look at my stuff, but I think he might be. It is a brewer name. I think he might be president of the Florida Brewers Guild. Cool. And so he's brewing at a spot. I'm going to go over and brew with him. So what I do is that's how I get my in brewery content.
So now. You're kind of like travel brewing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So I like being able to see different setups.
Yeah.
So I take my hour to 90-minute brew day, my long form, and then I cut that into shorts that show what I'm doing, and then it goes across platforms. Right. So that's what I'm doing. I also do like some consultation stuff too. So anything from like helping out with like SOPs for safety and quality, but I can also build videos for people around their SOP.
Right. I saw that. I think SOP it was on your
stuff. Yeah. So that's what I do.
You are at the confluence of the two things that I'm doing as well. So I guess you're one of the only people I can actually talk to about this, but like, which is good for me. But so obviously I'm not trying to jump ship and do full social media right now because I barely know how to brew. So, but it is a, possible future for me. So what would you recommend? What do you think is important in the pursuit of being in this like beer influencer hybrid role?
Yeah. I think just some big picture things. This might not be the answer that you're looking for, but I can get more direct. I think at its core, I think and this is me speaking from my experience, and especially for you as a new father. I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is divorce yourself from your identity as a brewer or as a content creator, and make sure that you are rooted in being a father, a husband, and a friend far beyond those things.
I love that.
And hopefully, I don't know if that's hopefully, I don't know if you're like, oh, maybe this is not, and maybe I shouldn't answer.
No, I was just going to buy more nannies and just spend more time at the brewery. And
well, no, but it's so easy. It's so easy to identify as our jobs, right? And there's an added layer too when we do something in the online space where we get feedback for both positive and negative. That's a really weird it's a really weird space to exist in. Phil, bless your heart, man. Thank you so much for the new membership. I very much appreciate that. Phil Shaw coming through. I've
heard this a lot in more or less words where people say, I don't care about negative comments, but I also don't care about the positive comments. Like those are the people that are saying it's like, I'm just doing what I have to do and I'm not going to get too big of an ego. And I'm also not going to get demotivated.
Bro, if easier to say, if they can do it, they're better than me. They're better than me. But like what I find is whenever somebody has something negative to say about my educational stuff, it's usually it's almost never anybody that's following me.
No.
Okay. They never follow
Someone on
my
the toilet.
content. They always want to like dip in. And like the funny thing was is I saw a comment because my stuff goes on TikTok, and I'm getting ready to add yeast to a fermenter. And you know, it's this big full pitch or whatever. And I had roused it like a few times, but it had started to settle again. And I'm ISOing the top of the tank where I'm going to be going in, and then my assistant is holding the thing, and this dude is like, I'm assuming it's a dude. This dude's like, beginner stuff guy. Make sure to shake up that yeast so it's like a homogeneous solution. You're going to be leaving a lot of yeast behind. I'm like, this video is 25 seconds long. You didn't even see me add it to the tank. Yeah. And I'm like, it's always dudes like you. Yeah. I hope you have a better day.
The tank that you're about to dump like 6 feet down into a giant thing that will be going under convection from the glycol jack. Yeah, it's
actively filling in the whole thing. But like, so most of my stuff is like that. Honestly, most people, you know,
it's
most
insecurity.
People that like my stuff, and like, listen, I don't know all the things, but I'm going to tell you everything I know, the stuff I've read and listened to about why I'm trying to do it. And I don't know, first of all, it's, and this isn't like a back pat thing, but like, it's nerve-wracking to show people everything that you do in your brewery.
It's
because people,
it's unadvisable. I don't know the word, but people actually tell you not to do that.
Sure, but you know, but like people have been really positive with me, and I, by and large, and I think it's because I love what I'm doing and I'm grateful. Yeah. And like, yeah, it always blows me away that there's somebody's listening, that somebody's downloading, that somebody's sharing. Cool. And I'm just really passionate about like trying to help people make it through this, because I feel like a lot of people realize they have jobs in this industry, and I want to be able to help people if they want a career to build a career in this space. So one, my first piece of advice is separate yourself from
online
those
identity.
From your online identity. Absolutely. And then
how do I make all the money?
How do you make all the
money?
How
do I make all the internet money? That's what I want. That's what
listen, hold on. Let me dig out from all of under in order to answer this question.
I want to be rolling in hundreds of dollars.
But it's a grind, man, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still working my way through that process right now myself. So for me, how I pay the bills is I pay the bills through doing consultations. I just got back from Boston. I was in Boston this past weekend, working with a person. I do content for people. And it's a little bit different because like I try to like feature, again, I want it to be educational, because that's my thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're coaching
so
it,
like, so like I want people to learn something. So if I'm going to help you promote a product, I'm actually going to be teaching you how to use the product. Yeah. Right. So like, it's going to be informational. This is what this shit does. Okay. And this is how you can use it, but you can buy it from this person. I don't have a problem with that.
You're also responsible for all your own leads, and it's kind of all under your own. So that's that.
So I'm learning a lot of stuff, man. And it's not a short path. My wife is patient and loves me. And now I think, but I'm not trying to like get a social media position with a brewery though. That's different. Like, cause you could, like with what you're doing, like right now, you could just go and run somebody's social media.
Yeah. I thought about that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do something that's in between. That's in between.
That you control.
That I control. That it's me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because I think that raw material suppliers in general, there's some that do a good job of it, but I think there's a divide between information that is available from raw material suppliers and brewers. I am a brewer. I've used these products. I always want to learn new stuff. So I can help facilitate that gap for you. You know, because sometimes I talk to like some yeast PhD guys, and I'm talking about stuff, and I'm like, I didn't know this was available, and they're like, oh, we've got 10 papers available on our website about this, and they were shocked that I didn't know it was there.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, well,
they're in
let me.
academia.
Yeah, it's two separate things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I think on some level, like I'm curious enough because there's a lot of things that don't come natively to me. And so I think I talk about it in a way that is approachable for other people.
Yeah,
the everyman we're all walking through it. Yeah.
And you can decode some of the mysteries of higher academia.
So yeah, I mean, so that's what I do. And so like my big focus is at some point, what I would love to do is like dream is I would love to be able to go to places that I'm interested in brewing at, do collab beers with them, do content for them that I
celebrity
get paid
brewing.
For. Well, yeah, that I get paid
that's
for.
Literally,
but it's really like the stuff. Like I did a video with Ryan Geist that was fun because they're a big regional place, and there's only like. You're not going to get that tour any other way. And it's just brewers talking brewer stuff, and you're going through their things, and I think there's value in seeing somebody else's kitchen, at somebody else's brewery, you know what I mean? So yeah. So I don't know.
Thank you. That's exciting. I also kind of, my dream obviously is if I were to stay on this path, I just hope I make a bunch of people laugh so much to where there is some kind of possible financial thing in this.
Yeah.
It isn't my main goal. And I think that's what my power here is that I already have a job.
Yep.
And it's not going anywhere, hopefully. But it's like, I'm already doing this, and all this stuff, this is just extra. And if this turns into something, so be it. I won the lottery.
You're creating stability for yourself.
Yeah. And that was a Gary Vee thing. That was a Gary Vee thing.
He was
talking to this girl who was like, I kind of have this following. Something happened to me and I'm surviving this illness. I have like 100,000 followers. How do you think I should capitalize on this momentum? He's like, to be honest, you should probably go get a job. And everyone was like, what? And he was just like, why would you stress yourself out? I mean, maybe she wasn't that famous. But the idea is, it's like, don't put all your chips into one play. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, just go get a job, work something, grow it. I mean, give yourself a couple of years. And then it's like, so in 1 year, I've gotten, 6,000 followers, a bunch of decent videos. And it's like, dude, imagine what another year is going to, 2 years, 3 years. Like, who knows? It's like, so
that's the lens. That's the lens. It's an online resume.
Yeah, exactly.
Me personally, and different people take things different directions. I'm not like a big, I'm never trying to get somebody to give me a hot take. I'm never trying to get somebody to get me to get them to insult another brewer or another brewery.
Oh, I am. I will eat that now. I will demolish someone's reputation if it gets me more clicks.
Just give me those clicks.
I'll openly start shaming certain breweries. I will.
But no, man, I honestly just I go into it with the right mindset, and you're building stability for yourself.
Exactly.
And that was one of the reasons that I did my thing, and that was one of the reasons that originally, like, my original boss at the time was not crazy about me doing content, was because he didn't want people to see me.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's one of those things where it's like, man, you don't realize how much you can gain from just a little bit of effort every day. Yes. Like it blows my mind. Like it's just people who they're just not moving into this generation. And it's like, man, you just gotta water this plant. I promise.
Sure.
You just gotta water it. I have to head out. Is there any other?
Yeah, dude. No, we're good. I was gonna ask. Go ahead and make sure to plug the socials that you use.
It's just at Geoff Wright, but it's spelled GeoffWright.
Awesome.
Pretty creative. But I just make things on Instagram. I started uploading stuff on TikTok, and I'll have candor here. It wasn't getting the same numbers. And so I literally didn't want to do the somewhat marginal extra work to like do on multiple platforms. But you understand. But it's like, I just am doing this for fun. Maybe one day I'll be a traveling TikTok social media guy, but
for sure. Hey, can you,
Yeah.
we'll wrap up, but can you hold on for just 1 second after we're offline?
Sure.
Awesome, brother. Hey, thanks to everybody out there. Show some love to the good people at Blickman. Phil Shaw, genuinely, brother, thank you for the channel membership. The channel membership over there on YouTube is only $2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee. And as we mentioned, the content thing is my full-time gig. So if you have the means and want to throw your boy a little bit of scratch, I'd appreciate it. But in the meantime, good to see you all in here. Love to see the comments. I didn't get to some of them over on Instagram. But yeah, Jeff, thanks so much, man. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
It was a great talk.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. I will see you guys this week, maybe even next week. I'm going to have Jeff Beeger. I need to double check the pronunciation, from New Belgium on. It was a hookup that I got from that sweetheart Jen Talley. So check those pods out as well. Anyways, until next time, I'll see you later.
This feeling's deeper than an ocean, with a groove that's beating harder than my heart. So baby, now just hear me out. No, don't fit.